Hi everyone, Kimberly Mackey here with New Home Solutions. Every time I ask the question, how do you mean? People always stop and they give me a sideways chuckle, and then they proceed to explain themselves much further than I ever would have gotten if I had asked the question, why? But wait, I'm kind of starting in the middle, and we all know the best place to start is at the beginning. Despite appearances, I'm not having a blonde moment here. I am actually trying to make a point. And that point is, as sales professionals, we often jump into the middle, or worse, sometimes we jump all the way to conclusions by making assumptions, especially when it comes to overcoming objections. The first assumption we make is that we have just, in fact, heard an objection. It might be that we just heard a statement. So it could be simply an observation. We need more information. Let's say you're showing a home to a buyer, and in your discovery process, they really were describing this exact home. You knew you had the perfect home for them. Imagine now that you've taken them out and you're demonstrating this home to them. They're placing their furniture. They love the color selections, and you get to the backyard. Now, perhaps you even have it in your mind that others have objected to this, the size of this backyard. But you hear the words. You knew they were coming. You were dreading them. And this is a small backyard? Is this an objection, or is it merely a statement masquerading as an objection? You see, all too often we hear things like this and we just launch right into our predetermined objection handler. We might go on and on about how difficult it is to maintain a large yard and keep them with a 365 degree or day growing season, blah, 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 blah. Or even worse, sometimes we just ignore these statements and hope they're going to go away because we know that everything else in our presentation is so dazzling that the buyer surely at the end, that the size of this yard is not going to matter. What if we slowed down and learned more information though before we assumed something? How might that create a different result? Over the years, many different sales trainers have referred to the 6-step method for overcoming objection. The first thing they've taught us to do is to hear the objection. Well, this seems like a duh moment until you think about being able to hear it non-verbally as well. You've got to be so in tune with your buyer that you can pick up on those non-verbal cues. We need to acknowledge or repeat the objection to the buyer. Let them know what they're saying, or even the body language that they're sending is important and that we did hear them. Then, of course, for the third step, we must question the objection, or at least question whether or not it really is an objection. At this moment, it may still just be a statement. We need to know more. How do you mean comes in very handy in these situations, because sometimes we may not know enough information to ask the right follow-up question. But we do know that we need more information. And when we ask why, we could potentially sound a little judgy or condescending and not have our customers feel comfortable sharing that information with us. The fourth thing we need to do, once we've learned that we do have enough information and we really have discovered the why behind the statement itself, is to answer the objection with your pre-planned objection handler. You can't just launch into that. You need these other steps first. But that might sound something like, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I hear you saying that this yard is smaller than you envisioned it would be when we were looking at the map of the community. However, if I recall, you told me that you really didn't like yard work. What you were looking for was a lovely space to entertain. Is that correct? Always insert that trial close in there to make sure you're on the right path. Then continue with something like, let me show you how if we expanded this patio area, put in an outdoor grilling space right over here, and how about a pergola over here? That would even leave a nice space over here for a fire pit. Isn't that what you were describing to me when we were back at the model center? If they answer in the affirmative, then we're going to go on to the fifth step, which is to move forward by confirming that that objection does not block the sale. I like to use the summary close, at least up to this point. And this might look something like, I'm so glad that I understood your vision. Just to make sure I'm showing you what you described up to this point. We were looking for a home on a quiet cul-de-sac with a 2-car garage, a large open family great room, and a space for outdoor entertaining. Insert whatever they have already confirmed to you up to that point and use their words. Their words are very important in the conversation. And it doesn't matter what the thing is, that's how you're going to get to that point. If they say, yep, absolutely, then you've done it. You have confirmed that objection does not block the sale. So we're going to just close it down by going with something as simple as, great, I'm glad this backyard works for the entertaining space we discussed. Shall we move forward to the rest of the home? Now, some of these steps can be combined. For instance, I like to combine step 2 and step 3 by repeating the objection and questioning it at the same time. So another technique that I might use would be to say, this yard is small. All I had to do was put the emphasis on the last word and it turns a statement into a question. Be sure that you pause after asking a question. Allow the buyer to think and formulate an answer. They may be just mulling it over in their head. They may be planning exactly how this space is going to lay out for themselves or how they might work it out. So allow them that time. Silence is golden. What if the statement was just simply a statement and not an objection at all? You still want to go through and you want to question it with non-threatening language, like turning the statement into a question, or my favorite, how do you mean? Which gives your buyers a chance to explain themselves further. You get the opportunity to understand their motivation without sounding judgmental or putting them on the spot. Remember, your buyers came to you for assistance. You owe it to them to slow down, get off your own agenda, and discover what it is that's really important to them so that you can help them to move forward. Never forget the best, most grammatically incorrect question in the world. How do you mean? You'll be amazed at what you learn when you use it.